bring in now Matt Whitaker, former acting attorney general under President Trump. Great to see you, Matt.
Good to be here.
Let's just start off with the timing of Lisa Page coming out. It's ahead of this report. Is she saying information that you've never heard before, that you didn't anticipate to hear from her?
No, what she's doing is she was probably named in the IG report, so she was able to see the section that was about her, get a preview. And so this is a calculated effort to try to front run the news, to try to shape the narrative. And, you know, it's a shame because sort of the standard at the FBI is, I didn't do anything illegal. If the men and women of the FBI work every day and say, well, we're just not doing anything illegal, so everything's good, that's a bad standard. And so I think the American people can see these texts. They can see the animus that Page and Strzok had towards the president, and I think it was very dangerous at the time.
So, Matt, when you say, well, that's not the right bar, then they didn't do anything illegal, that it's just enough to have done something that people say is wrong, because that's what Democrats are doing about the president right now.
Well, but see, and the impeachment process is entirely just a political process. That is different from investigating crimes, from investigating foreign espionage and the like. And so, you know, I really think we need to sort of separate those two things, because what's happening in the House is not a legal proceeding. There's no due process for the president. And so we can't conflate those two. They're trying to make it look like that. But when we're talking about an FBI investigation, the investigators and the prosecutors have to be above reproach. And the American people's faith in the institution of the FBI was rattled when they saw those texts, especially the ones about the insurance policy and the like. And so I think...
What was that insurance policy? I mean, that's what we were talking about last hour on Outnumbered. I mean, that would be helpful to know that, because maybe there was something that was illegal. We don't know, because we don't know what that looked like. I want to get to this. Lisa Page also had this to say in her interview, quote, "It's very painful to see places like the FBI and the Department of Justice that represent so much of what is excellent about this country not fulfilling the critical obligation that they have to speak the truth to power." You were at the DOJ.
Yeah, and there was some overlapping of all this timeline. There's no speaking truth to power. It's all about the facts and the law, and that's where there is, you know, the truth to power. I guess holding people accountable to the law is the job of the FBI. But one of the things that she doesn't answer that I still cannot wait to hear is, what was the predicate to put the president of the United States into this investigation as a target? I mean, that was a huge hurdle, and it seems like Andy McCabe's the one that made that decision on his own.
Deputy FBI director at the time. Real quickly, because we got to move on to this next thing. I've been curious. Are there, you know, kind of handbook issues with two people at their level as FBI agents having an affair, texting about it on their work devices? Perhaps other people knew about this. What does that do?
Well, again, it creates, it's not the culture of the FBI, and Andy McCabe and
Is it against policy?
For sure, it's against policy. And, you know, what I have always argued is that Jim Comey and Andy McCabe created a culture at the FBI that included selective leaking and shaping stories and the like that are inconsistent with the job and the work of the rank and file FBI agents that every day bring their lunch pail to work and do their job in an admirable way. And so it is good to get this chapter behind us, because it was not a honorable moment in FBI history.
All right. I'm sorry to scoot you along, but I wanted to get that one in there because I was curious. President Trump today is confirming that the White House will not participate in the first House Judiciary Committee impeachment hearing. Today, the House Intel Committee reviews a draft impeachment report ahead of a vote tomorrow to move that to the Judiciary Committee, which begins its hearings on Wednesday. Democrats and even some Republicans say the White House should take part. Watch.
If he has not done anything wrong, we're certainly anxious to hear his explanation.
I think it would be to the president's advantage to have his attorneys there. That is his right. But I can also understand how he is upset at the illegitimate process that we saw unfold in the Intelligence Committee.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, if you haven't, I would recommend everyone read Pat Cipolloni's recent letter. I think it was from last night, back to Chairman Nadler. It outlines essentially why this process is completely rigged. One of the prime examples is that in previous impeachments, like the Clinton impeachment, they were given 2.5 weeks to prepare for witnesses that they then could bring a lawyer and cross-examine. In this example, they don't even know who these witnesses are on Wednesday. They have 3 witnesses, allegedly professors, as was told by the media, but Nadler hasn't given anybody notice as to who the actual witnesses are, and then we have no idea what the process is after that. I just think, I think it's fair for the president to hang a lantern like he is on this process and say, this is completely rigged, completely partisan. Why would I participate in this if it's not going to be include due process rights?
Real quickly, so on Wednesday when this starts, though, doesn't this thwart the argument by the White House that you're saying that you're not part of the process? You have an opportunity to be. Would you not want to participate? Your last thought.
Well, my last thought is why would you participate in a process that's completely rigged against you? Every Americans understand what fairness is. Fundamental fairness is in our core. This is not a fair process.
Matt Whitaker, thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Good to see you. All right.